Hi again, I'm Dave with Counselor Magazine, and I'm joined by Alex Morin from Debco. Alex, how are you?
Hey, I'm well, thanks, Dave.
So Alex and I just had a panel discussion about new marketing strategies in the industry. And Alex, I want to ask you, and I think you spoke very eloquently about this, what's working for Debco now? In other words, what are you doing today at Debco that you weren't doing a couple years ago, and how's it working?
It's a good question, Dave. We're doing a lot of things differently these days. One of the things that's interesting is the capturing of data. So what we're doing is we're actually taking mass amounts of data, amalgamating those in a metaphorical cube, and extracting information based on our needs and based on what's happening in the marketplace so that we can respond accordingly and come up with the greatest marketing techniques.
Okay. I'm going to switch gears on you. Sure. Something else I thought that was interesting, and you mentioned this off the top, was texting. And how that is a marketing strategy that people might not think of, but it's very personal. How does that work, and how has that been effective for you guys?
Sure. Well, it's an interesting question because I'm often asked about new technology and how that makes its way into the marketing world. But what we often forget is that there's technology that's existed for a long time that we can use and it's not being used effectively. So one of the stories that I shared in today's session was an exercise that we had with our reps. And we asked them, point blank, hey, listen, if I were to send you two messages and it's the same message with two different platforms, which one would you respond to? So I might say, hey, how are you? And send it by email and text at the same time. And what's interesting is that the whole room unanimously said I would respond to the text instantly. And the reason behind that was because text is a lot more personal and you're bombarded with emails. So you might get 100, 200 emails a day, whereas you get fewer texts. So knowing that information, now we just take our marketing message, insert it into a text message, instruct our reps to do that, and when they personalize that message to their audience, they get responses like that. It's absolutely incredible how that technology can be leveraged to get your marketing message out there.
I'll use texting before calling or email myself, so I hear where you're coming from. I'm going to throw you one more curveball and ask you about trends. Yep. How do you identify trends, and how might that translate into a stronger marketing approach for Debco?
Sure. I think trends can be identified in a myriad of ways. I think you can go out to stores and check out what's happening. I think you can read publications. I think you can read magazines. Personally, what I like to do is read a whole bunch of different cross sections of literature. So I like to look at financial news, technological news, and then make interesting connections between that news and the voids that I see in the marketplace. And thereby, you come up with a unique idea that ends up trending based on what's happening in the world at this time, at a relevant time in history. So, I can give you lots of examples, and one that we shared earlier was this notion of binge TV watching, right, with this idea that everyone is now connected to their laptops and watching TV anytime they want. And so we can find a void in the marketplace. We can find a product that's going to relate to that habit that's growing. Maybe it's a certain pair of glasses that take away radiation from the TV. Maybe it's just knowing that people are going to be in front of the TV for longer, and we're going to give them bowls that they can use because they'll have to be eating and they're going to be hungry. So, again, I think that you can identify those trends by doing a lot of reading, by figuring out what's happening in the news these days, and then react to those trends by coming up with solutions to those voids in the marketplace.
Great stuff. Alex Morin, thanks so much for your help, and thank you, as always, for watching ASI TV.